protect Black women. You've heard those words all over social media, protect Black women. What exactly does it mean? It simply means that Black women are unprotected. Black women are stereotyped to be lazy, aggressive, loud, while Black girls are criminalized, handcuffed, and even killed. My goal for today's conversation is that we shed light on this issue and look at it through the lens of powerful Black women. My guests today are the authors of the book Engineher, a compilation of the challenges of four women on their journey to becoming engineers in America. Now, it's beautiful to say that these women are of Black, African, and Caribbean descent. The authors are Tinu Pena, Nicole Cummins, Leslie Harris, and Jessica Vanderpool. Joining me today are two of the authors of Engineher, Tinu Pena and Nicole Cummins. Welcome, ladies. It's so nice to have you on. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having us.
So I'm going to go right into the question. I think everybody's just waiting. I mean, this book is so amazing, very inspirational, super relatable. I read it, I cried a lot. What was the inspiration behind the title Engineher? It's very, very unique. Tinu?
Yeah, Engineher was actually a name suggested by the one of our authors, Leslie Harris. We were brainstorming because the original name was so long, and we wanted something catchy. And she suggested, Engineher because she's seen it on a T-shirt somewhere. And so I went ahead and Googled it to see if it was trademarked, and it wasn't. So I, snatched the name up, and that's how the name came to be. The name of the book.
Amazing, very awesome. I absolutely love it. So, Tinu, I'm gonna go with you first. In the beginning of your book, actually, the title of your book is Stilettos to Field Book, and I need to mention that this is a compilation of four books put together, right?
Yes.
So you talk about a scenario where your manager exposed you to the field side of engineering, and that was when you took off your stilettos and wore your field boots, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that. Why was that moment so pivotal to even become the title of the book?
One thing, if anyone knows anything about engineering, especially in land development, which is a discipline under civil engineering, you have to go to the site to see what's happening. So as an intern, my supervisor at the time, he was very instrumental in defining my foundation as a designer. So one of the things he said to me is that you don't want to be a desk engineer. So when he was going out to the field, he will take me along, and realizing that in the field, you can't wear your heels. So I always made sure that in my car, I had my field boots and plus my personal protective gear, so that in the event that I need to change out, it will be a quick change and I'm ready to go. So the title itself is more about, it's a metaphor. It's me morphing from having to change quickly when the circumstance require it, and you'll see that all throughout the book.
Amazing. So I think we lost our second author, Nicole. Hopefully she can join later on. But let's continue with you, Tinu. So you pretty much spearheaded this project, and your story, as well as the stories of all the ladies, are very relatable. So you talk about how you grew up in Nigeria, you were deemed a foreigner in Nigeria. In America as well, you're deemed a foreigner. How does it feel to be stuck in both worlds but belonging to neither? I feel like a lot of immigrants can relate to your story. I can relate to your story as well.
So I guess I need to set the precedent. The reason why I was deemed a foreigner in Nigeria was because I was actually born in the United States. And at the time my parents were here, they were going to school, and they decided to have all their kids. So when we went back to Nigeria, we already had developed our language skills. So how we pronounce things were way different from what how English is spoken in Nigeria. So that's why we were considered foreigners. And, it was a little bit traumatic because people did make fun of us by the way we talk and how our mannerisms were. But it also exposed me to a different side of my heritage, which is my Nigerian, my Yoruba culture.
Exactly.
Being a foreigner there was just basically because I spoke differently, not because of how I looked, but primarily because how I expressed myself. And anybody that knows the culture in Nigeria, be it Igbo, Yoruba, or Hausa, respect is something that is intricate in the culture. So having to learn that you don't call an adult by their first name was, another thing that myself and my siblings had to learn. So, fast forwarding and coming back to United States, I spoke differently. I guess I picked up an accent, and people were like, "Where are you from? Are you a foreign exchange student?" And so I encountered that, but it is what it is. Eventually, I guess my accent faded away, and now people will ask if I'm of Nigerian heritage because I don't sound Nigerian. So
No, it's okay. I mean, I can hear you. You speak clearly. Can you speak Yoruba?
I sure can. I sure can. It sounds funny, but I can speak it.
Say something to us in Yoruba then.
So I'm gonna say Eku Joko.
Okay, and translate.
Eku Joko is to translate it literally means you're sitting well, like as a greeting. Like if I walk into the room and I see a bunch of people just sitting, I would say Eku Joko, like all be well or something like that.
Beautiful, very well said. So, let's dive right into this whole immigrant journey and story. And what I love about your book, Tinu, as well as the other ladies, is that you really take us through this process. You tell us how you decided to go back to America after finishing your secondary school in Nigeria, right? You get on the plane, you meet some Americans, you talk about your struggle, and then not being picked up at the airport by your supposed guardians. So it really just paints the perfect picture. So tell us a little bit, because I feel like as immigrants, we romanticize this idea of coming to America. We think America is, the land of honey. Literally, literally. I mean, it is sad, but we feel like it is literally. Tell us, what was that like, just coming in and experiencing things like racism, identity conflict, microaggression, structural violence? What did that feel like for you?
So you were 100% right. I was one of those that romanticized, coming back, and I felt like I was missing out when I was in Nigeria and missing my whole life because I thought my life was supposed to be in America. But hindsight, looking back at it, I'm really grateful to my parents that they did take me back to Nigeria because it was a strong foundation for me coming back. Flying into New York in the middle of winter wasn't fun at all because none of the clothes that I had was for winter. So that was a challenge in itself. And then having to navigate the use of just something as simple as a payphone was something I also encountered. So it was the luck. I just had the luck of speaking to someone on the airplane, and that lady was the one that actually helped me, call the people that were supposed to pick me up. And then keep in mind, at this time, we didn't have Instagram, Facebook, no social media. So I really didn't know who was picking me up. So I had to walk around the airport and ask anybody that I thought looked Nigerian, are you this person? Are you this person? And so it's a funny story, but some people find it traumatic, but I look at it and I say, you know what? It's part of my journey and
your story, essentially.
And my story, really.
There's a part in the book where you are, at the airport, you're going through immigration, and your food was thrown away.
Yeah, that was.
That was, and what was the comment the immigration officer said? He made a comment, right? Or a gesture.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, I'm going to say that when he saw that I had an American passport, he did say welcome home. It was a white customs officer. He said welcome home. Okay. And then he went through my stuff and he saw that I had a bag of yam.
Okay.
And I had a bag of beans. And he started making fun of the yam as if it was a club, from Flintstone, So he, I just looked at him. I wasn't expecting that kind of reaction. So I didn't really know how to respond to it. And then he just said, I'm sorry, we're going to have to take this from you. You cannot legally bring this in. So that's how those food items was confiscated and taken away from me. It was hurtful because, my mom packed that. And unfortunately for me, that would be the last thing I ever got from her.
Very sad. So looking back now retrospectively, would you have acted different after seeing your food thrown out? I mean, now we're living in this woke culture where people are being more exposed and, being more authentic, empowered enough to speak out. Would you have done anything different?
Well, one, I don't want to break the law. So
right, I was just gonna say
if it was against the law for me to bring that in, then not knowing was not an excuse. So I probably wouldn't have done anything different. Now, if I knew that it was allowed and he tried to take it from me, and then that's where the clause would come out. and I would stand my ground and say no, and that's basically my personality. But if I was doing anything to break the law, I definitely would not have opposed him taking it away. But at the time, I was very naive, so I didn't know what was what. So I just had to go with the flow.
Absolutely. Now take us through your engineering journey, right? So you decide to go into engineering, you go to college here, you start an internship with this corporate company, you get in there, and soon enough you started to experience microaggressions, you started to experience misogyny. And I really do wish the other author was here to share experience because she also details it on there. What did that feel like? Explain to us, especially about this whole misogyny thing that happens in corporate America, which is male dominated, and your field is heavily male dominated. Talk to us a little bit more about those experiences.
I can speak to two experiences that I had. One with my colleague. So there was a particular woman that our energy did not click. I'm a big person. I feed off of energy, and I think I'm an empath. So, but if you bring negative energy around me, I just repel it, and I just can't find my sync with people like that. So this woman, she comes off jolly, but to me it came off very fake. So I then, people, I guess people could sense that I really didn't like her. So my boss at the time, who I also had an microaggressive encounter with, you know, they would make comments and make it seem as if I was being antagonistic, right?
Mm,
So I then talked to one of my colleagues. He said, "Why don't you girls go out to lunch together?" I said, "Okay, that's a good idea, so I can get to know her." But he then said, "Oh, don't beat her up." So I
interesting.
was
Wow.
like, okay, what do you mean by that? And they're like, oh, we were all joking around thinking that you guys would go to lunch and you might end up beating her up. I'm like, what will make you think that I will conduct myself in that manner? So he said, he just laughed it off. And to me, that was uncalled for. But that's the kind of things that they say without thinking, how they stereotype you as the angry black woman
Mm-hmm.
without them really saying it. And the other instance was the department head. He was a very colorful individual in how he spoke, and I got a sense that he didn't really care for me too much,
Mm,
which reflected in job assignments. So, um, long story short, I stood my ground when it came to an opportunity for me to work with him and a couple of other colleagues to go after a project. And instead of them telling me ahead of time that they have enough people on the team to do the presentation, I was walking up to the conference room and I overheard them talking about me. And he
interesting.
told one of the engineers to go back and tell me that we don't need to know. I mean, that hit me. I felt so crappy. And for the fact that he was the one that assigned projects and I won't get assigned projects. And we actually have Monday status meeting. So you see everybody going through 4 or 5 projects. And here I have only one project. So, and the reason why I know that this person had it out for me, and I
Mm,
was the fact that prior to him becoming my manager, I worked on a number of projects as an intern.
interesting.
So the
Wow.
supervisor that would take me out to the field, he allowed me to do design work as an intern. So me coming on a full-time employee, come to find out he had an issue with me being interviewed by the vice president of the company, and that I was the highest paid junior engineer, and the fact that I didn't have my engineering training certification was an issue for him. So he used that as his way of, nitpicking at everything that I did, to the point that I was so stressed. I had an anxiety attack at work. I had to go to the emergency room. So these are the things that they do. They don't realize what it has on your mental health and your physical psyche. And then they just brush it off as is, it is what it is. But you know, that's
Yeah.
some of the things I encountered.
And Tinu, thanks for being extremely transparent. And I feel like your story is going to inspire a lot of women to even speak up because there's this thing about we know all of this happens in corporate America, but we don't talk about it, right? We know this happens to Black women. So you sharing your story is exceptionally inspirational. So you told me there was a time just right now you said you went into a meeting, you were told, "Oh, Tinu, we don't need you anymore." What is that code for? Because I've heard women say, "Oh, we're told." We can take it from here, right? And that does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
What is that code for? Is that code for we've had offline conversations about the fact that you're not fit for
That's
the
how I,
project at hand.
that's how I took it, that I wasn't fit to represent the company. And I knew that it was just coming from him, because prior to him coming on board, I was basically, I guess, their minority face, in all their newsletter and everything. You would see me because I was very active in school and in the community, so you always see them write about me. But I'm not sure if that rubbed him the wrong way, because he wasn't expecting that. And I had to be quite frank and stand up for myself. And I wrote him a letter and I said, I can't apologize for who I am, but this is how you make me feel. And
Very
so,
bold.
yeah, they flipped it on me and made it seem as if I was trying to ruin his career. And I eventually got, laid off. So, yeah.
Speaking up got you laid off pretty much.
Yes.
Very interesting. A lot of women can relate to this. So tell me a little bit about this whole thing that we hear. Engineers don't cry, engineers don't hug each other, engineers have to be, female engineers especially, have to be very masculine in nature. Not in nature, but in attitude and persona.
Yeah.
Tell us more about this. I know Nicole, who isn't here, talked about that in her portion of the book. Tell us a little bit more about that. What is that about?
So because we're a technical profession, they want us to be stoic in our approach to things, and that includes how we project ourselves. So they don't expect you to get emotional. You should expect somebody to yell at you, and you need to take it. And so that's kind of the type of environment you find yourself in. And then being that is male dominated, you have to bring your game up so that you're representing properly and showing that you are technically capable. So you will hardly ever see a woman that is in the field say she cried because somebody said something in the meeting that hurt their feelings. We just take it, we suck it up, and we move on. But that's just the nature of the beast of the industry. One thing that I try to do as an engineer is to maintain my femininity, and that's why I wear my heels to work. If they say something, I have my jeans ready. If I was wearing a skirt, I have my jeans in my car and my boots in my car. So I'm always ready, but I refuse to conform and just, I wear makeup. I do everything that, I identify as being feminine, and I do that. And I don't knock anybody for not doing it, but I think trying to make us all conform is something that I couldn't, go along with.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like in general, in life, in the society, being emotional is deemed as feminine, which is
And
also deemed as weak. I was just going to say that exactly. So to be honest, I have come to the point, and this is me just going outside the unconventional way of giving my opinion. I've come to the understanding that even being emotional is strength. As a woman, that's how men are emotional too, not just women. But I feel like that in itself shows our power, being able to even detox and just cry it out, right, and get yourself back again. So when are we gonna get to the point where we accept being emotional across the board? Do you think we're ever gonna get to that point, Tinu?
I think we are moving in that direction because now we're seeing, a big push for addressing toxic masculinity. And that plays into it as well. That men shouldn't cry, men shouldn't show emotion. If you are if you can relate to a woman, if you care for a woman, they say you're weak. And I think women are now seeing that, what, I want that in a man. I want a man that, can express himself emotionally so that we're both vulnerable together. And I think there's a shift happening, and I don't know how far it's going to get in America, but I think it's acceptable. You see that in Europe, more so that the men are more forward thinking when it comes to expressing their emotions than they are in America.
It's very interesting you talk about toxic masculinity because that's true, right? Because men are brought up in a certain way where you can't show your emotions. That's weak. You can't say certain things. No, but thank you so much for sharing. We're going to take a quick break right now. We'll be back with Tinu Pena to discuss more about Engineher. We're going to dive right into the conversation about microaggression, racism, and structural violence in engineering, corporate America. Stay tuned.
Chiaki. I am from Nigeria, the Igbo land. I'm so excited to read about the prophetic whirlwind because I'm Igbo and she had to go actually travel to the Igbo land to research about my tradition, my origin, my culture. So I want to really see and learn a lot about my culture, my tradition. So I'm really excited to read about this. And yeah, I would also advise that you get it too so you can know more about your origin. Thank you, Only Love, for all your hard work to make sure that we know more about ourselves.
Welcome to Open House with Pauline with Ototola Realty Group. I have this beautiful Perry home in the Richmond area, and I would love for you to come right in. Let me show you this home. This beautiful Perry home is located in the Richmond area in the beautiful master plan community of Aliana. It is huge. It is 4,192 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 5.5 baths with a split 3-car garage. It has a media room, game room, front courtyard with a fireplace, and a stucco exterior. You also have the option to upgrade to a spice kitchen. This home also depicts an Italian villa, so it is filled with the works. If you're looking for a luxury home with family-friendly neighborhood, this is the home for you. We also have some great inventory homes that I directly work with the builder to be able to negotiate some great deals for you. I look forward to making your real estate dreams a reality. Contact me today. All right, thank you so much, guys. I hope you love this beautiful home. It's a beautiful Perry home, and I'm so glad that you had open house with me, and I can't wait to serve you guys' needs. As you can see, I am a local Houston realtor. I do residential, I do commercial, leasing, and for the greater Houston area, I'm here to serve your needs at any time. Give me a call. My call number is 346-702-4775, or email me or find me on Instagram at Ototola Realty Group. I would love to be your realtor, and I can't wait to talk to you soon.
We're back again with Tinu Pena, Conversations with Nia. We're continuing on the book Engineher, which talks about the challenges of women in engineering, women of Black, African, and Caribbean descent. Tinu, so we're going to continue on. The whole theme of today is this slogan and catchphrase, protect Black women. So would you say, from your perspective and your experiences, which is very broad, robust, and vast, would you say that Black women truly are not protected? And how can we start protecting Black women?
Well, Black women has always been the anchor to everyone else, and we're now asking others to be our anchor, and it's about time. When you look at Black women in the work industry, and sometimes you realize that men that look like us are sometimes the one that are not having our backs, and that goes to tell you that who has the power, and it's all about who controls what. So if a Black man is not in a position of power to be able to protect the Black women, how then do they go about protecting us? And then when they are in that position, they tend not to want to put themselves out there to show that maybe they're doing favoritism. Whereas in other ethnicities, they will go to bat for their own. And I think that's the conversation that needs to be had about Black men, Black women also protecting each other and making sure that, when we're at the table, we're making room to pull in others. When we're at the table, we're advocating for people that look like us as well, because others do it. And there's nothing wrong with us advocating for the advancement of our own people.
Okay.
And we're not asking for it at the expense of others, but we're asking for it to allow us to now be able to structurally move up, and not just, the philosophical way of moving up, which is kind of like wait your turn.
You know what? If I could throw a shoe at you right now, how we doing black churches and black convention out of excitement, I'll just throw that shoe right at you right now because you were speaking truth to power. So let me just dive into this whole black men, black women relationship, and then we're going to connect it back to engineering and your challenges. So you're not just saying American society has failed black women, right? Has not protected black women. You're saying black men as well have not protected black women. How so?
In some instances, and I mean, honestly, let's look at it and let's be quite honest. Um, if I'm a black man and I don't have the power to make change, and my livelihood is at stake, what will you do? And you
Mm.
have a family. So and we have to take that into consideration as well. Not that everyone does it, but there are situations where it's done. And what's beautiful about the movement now is that you're seeing us recognizing that that is a void that needs to be, filled. And black men that that do have the back of black women are calling out those that don't, that need to step up. And it's just a matter of time that we want to make sure that we are all stepping up to be each other's advocate.
How would you have wanted to be protected? Through your struggles, especially your challenges in corporate America, what could have been done different? What could black men in your, family or your workspace, what could they have done? What could have the American society overall do to protect you?
Well, I don't think there's anything that America could do to protect me as a black woman in corporate. That is a culture that is within a company, and they have to fix that. I know a lot of companies are now certifying people in regards to diversity and inclusion. To me, it's just a facade. If you are calling for diversity and inclusion, but your culture still supports marginalizing people that look like me because we speak up when things are done to us, then it's just on paper to me.
Mm.
So for me to be protected, that means that you should allow me to be true to who I am and my authenticity. Do not make comments about my hair because it's not something you're used to. Allow me to be in the space to be able to voice myself as a professional without you deeming me argumentative or hard to work with because I have an opinion. I, as a professional, believe that when you hire me, you're hiring me because of my intellect, because what I bring to the table, and I want you to treat me as such. So I'm not really asking for any, organization to change
Mhm.
um, um, per se, or somebody to come to my help. I'm saying, look at your company's culture, look at your policies, look at the things that are making it difficult for me as a woman, as a black person, to be successful within your organization without selling out who I am as a person. And that's what I'm
Okay.
asking for.
Very well said. Very well said. And don't just do that for the face of it to just show that
Correct.
you have diversity, but actually implement, those changes in your organization. Be very intentional and active towards implementing those changes. Very well said. Finally, we have 2 more minutes before we close out. Advice to young women, immigrants, black women in engineering, going through the same, just advice to anybody overall, whatever you have in your mind. Let us know. We want to hear it, Tinu.
Sure, sure. I would advise any young woman, any young girl, any immigrant that's going into engineering, enjoy the process of getting there. Be true to yourself, find people that will support you, and build your network because you're going to have to rely on your network when needed. And make sure you surround yourself with positive people that are moving upwards.
Tino, thank you so much for such a powerful interview, for powerful responses. I could feel you were getting hot. I was getting hot. Wanted to throw my shoes several times because that was really good responses. I would love for you to come back again with all the women. So there are overall 4 authors. We
Yes.
have Nicole Cummins, who couldn't finish up with us, which is totally fine. We're excited to have her back again. Leslie Harris and Jessica Vanderpool. Can't wait to have all of you four come back again. I think it'll be a really great panel-like conversation. Everyone, thank you so much for watching Conversations with Nia. Stay tuned for next week on Conversations with Nia. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching Conversations with Nia today. I just want to say 2020 has been a very difficult year for everybody. 2021 as well has been very difficult, but we're here. We made it.
and we're officially back again recording, bringing you guys positive content and earth-shattering conversations. I do want to say thank you to everyone who supported me through the process, especially my family and my friends. I'm dedicating today's episode to God, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, for just helping me through the process overall. Now, today's episode was very powerful. We talked about protecting Black women. Our guests, the authors of Engineher, Tinu Pena and Nicole Cummins, talked about their challenges and struggles in corporate America in becoming engineers in their field. I hope that everyone can watch it. Please comment below, let us know your thoughts. What kind of content do you want moving forward? I know that this season is going to be very powerful. We're going to have a lot of powerful content coming your way, so stay tuned. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.